lines, I made up a better birth story. It was truer than the truth. Tasket, a noun. The stain left on a lover's neck after you bite harder than you've ever bitten before. To tasket, a verb, a sexual act often requested with unnecessary humility by a new and hungry mother. 357. I have this dream where Hillary Clinton is sodomizing Donald Trump with a studded heirloom turnip, while Bernie Sanders uses an abacus to count how many times Trump begs for his mommy and his daddy. It is unclear whether this is rape or not. Bernie Sanders makes maple syrup farmers look like axe murderers. There must be an environmental impact in this story somewhere. We cut the skin of a tree and it bleeds sour nectar. Then we find a way to boil it down to brown gold. This brown gold has the seduction of heroin, but it's good for the kids. I've read that maple syrup is often swallowed to help celebrities lose postpartum weight fast. There's a fine line between trying to be funny and just being frivolous. This voice is struggling to distill the two possibilities properly. Time is spare here. There's a garbage chute of a narrative fighting its way into the walls of this room. The room I am building can't seem to control its own space. Even the pacifist hunter has wet dreams about discharging his firearm into a crowd of tourists. The difference between him and the enemy is that he writes love letters on tissues into which he masturbates before going back to sleep. The enemy shoots off with his eyes closed and doesn't leave a note. This enemy only leaves a false confession. Write something funny. Don't take yourself too seriously, not always. A Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim walk into a bar. 117. I've never known anything of organized religion. Am I allowed to resent my mother for raising me atheist? Only when she started wrapping up each conversation with "you're in my prayers," this after she turned 60 and moved out of the apartment in which we raised ourselves and moved into a gutted Kia Sportage with an old carpet pad in the back and a sleeping bag. One joke I've never been able to forget: "You're a mean drunk, Superman." 408. And the breast pump says, "Free bird, free bird, free bird." To convince, verb. To write a story that does not include an apology. Synonym, the truth. Convincing, adjective, the impending sunrise. 128. I used to let my body do things I now regret, things I do not want my children to do. I once wore the costume of a prepubescent angel. I marched on downtown Boston, threatening to cut the straps off designer handbags with a pair of craft scissors. I flitted over the commons and told children that Santa Claus was not real. These are not necessarily the kind of regretful acts that I used to let my body perform. These are just examples of performance. On one late night, from the perspective of memory, a circumcised lover licked privilege off his strong, slim fingers after rubbing his hand between my unshaved legs. Then I pretended to enjoy giving him a blowjob. I thought at first that I would enjoy this, but 4 minutes later I was not so into it, but felt obligated to finish the task. This is like opening a gift and then having to break down the box in order to properly recycle it. The blowjob is the breaking down the box part. Back in Boston, I used to frequent a basement bar called Our House. There you might still find my angel wings stapled to the back wall next to a sign that reads, "We ain't your mama's bar," if the bar is still there at all. I got out of bed thrilled that there was still so much night left to dwell in. I had so many more hours to return to that lazy chaos, to keep building my room. This was a moment of rare silence, and I wanted to bathe in it. I thought I had more time. 419. Then the coffee maker begins to percolate. This can't be right. One child is snoring while the other's eyes turn brown. I watch our next-door neighbor shuffle around his backyard in thin boxers and an army parka, calling Mindy, Mindy, Mindy. Or is it Whimsy, Whimsy, Whimsy? I don't know if he is looking for his wife, long dead, his daughter in California, or a favorite squirrel hidden away for the cold, cold winter. My money is on the squirrel. I make a hard-boiled egg even though it smells like sweaty rope. I ignore the ghosts laughing at me through the blue gaslight of the stove top. Fast protein. Humming a national anthem through the steam of my coffee, I slouch over this fiction and begin again and again.
Give it up for Loie Merritt! And for Drew Searchinger. So we will be back for every Wednesday the rest of this month. 2 more readings in the MFA showcase, so that'll be exciting. Please give some love to Rachel and Connor back there behind the espresso bar. Thanks Innisfree, thank you Loie, and have a great night. See you next week.
You're welcome.
I know the correct feeling for sure. That's amazing. I'm turning in the same day as Loie. She's turning in that, so now I'm going to go jump on the
Are you